All right, get in here, y'all. I'm about to walk you through one of the most masterful FAFO obstacles that the Democrats have ever faced. The White House and Trump just literally handed them a crap sandwich and made them look like they're deliciously ready to eat it. I mean, guys, when the media throws these people under the bus, it's game, set, match. I've been telling you for a while, this is where we were headed. The things that Trump just did with the paying of the military, making the Democrats look like they don't want to pay the military for their own political benefit, is masterful, to say the least. And it's going to have implications unlike you can possibly believe. And we're going to walk through all of those things right now. I hope you're ready. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. We are on the cutting edge of freedom like you've never seen before. And the next generation is going to benefit from your actions right now by doing just those things. And make sure you share this out. All right, guys, we are on a live stream, so make sure you are jumping in the chat. You're dropping the emojis. You're sharing it out. You're doing all the things, because what I'm about to show you is going to make you smile in your patriotic heart. All right, let's get right into this. You guys are early on time. The notifications must have gone out. I cannot waste your time. Let's dive right in. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to hit on, remember that whole thing I've been telling you about for the last week and a half with the shutdown? How Trump was effectively in the power position where he can come in and say, okay, so you don't want to open the government, and then the other side is, we're just going to cut all of your funding. Remember that? Let me know in the chat if you do, because now it just got even worse, because the Democrats were attempting to use the the military, to pressure as a vulnerable leverage point against the White House, and so Trump decided to just pay them. Yeah, this is masterful. Honest to God, this is masterful. All right, let's get into this, people. We've done the intro. Let me show you one of the things that the big brain lefties over at the Krasenstein brothers, they are really upset. The fact that they walked right into a Democrat shutdown, and they're losing all the Democrat infrastructure and all the pay and all the people that are getting laid off because they shut the government down. Yeah, watch this. And we're just getting into this. Watch. Oh, you're going to love it so much.
The federal agencies impacted by the mass layoffs include the Departments of Commerce, Education, Energy, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Homeland Security, and the Treasury Department. Now, multiple sources at the Department of Education tell CNN the latest round of mass layoffs have decimated the office this week.
You know, when I'm talking about shrinking government, words like decimated make me happy. All right, this is the entire point. They are playing a different game. Okay, remember how I said in the earlier videos on this topic that the Democrats were playing the typical government shutdown leverage? We win, we get the PR media, we get the PR battle, whoever gets the PR advantage wins, and that's how it works. It's not working that way this time. They're literally operating on like a Windows 97 operating system, and we're over here on iOS 17. I mean, it is like a totally different world, okay? Let me show you why. Breaking, says Brian Krasenstein, thought leader on the left. 4,000 federal workers have been laid off by Trump. Again, trying to make this a bad thing. Don't let them pretend they are the ones who really want to pay government employees. This is Trump's doing. It was literally a campaign platform promise to shrink the size of government and shrink the spending. It is, I mean, you literally walked right into it. And now you're trying to say, like, don't let them do more. Like, it's hilarious. All right, let's keep on going. Because you guys remember this little nougat? Covered this about a week and a half ago. The White House freezes $18 billion in New York City infrastructure funding. Wait for it. The move, which came hours into the federal government shutdown, affects the home city of Democratic congressional leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Donald Trump is all out of F's. He's going to start by cutting $18 billion in the districts where people who are causing the shutdown. And then the Democrats have the balls to do this little number. Again, if you guys are just now getting in here, I'm about to walk you through masterful on display. Okay? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, send this out, because we are on the cusp of continuing this country to the next generation better than we found it. All right. This one is an oldie but a goodie because we did it yesterday. So the news cycle's flying so fast, this might have been a year ago. Or might as well have been a year ago. This is the Democrat on CNBC, I believe, no, CBS, who came out and said that, oh, Trump doesn't want to pay the troops. Oh, yeah, watch this. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I'll tell you a Connecticut story. The day after the shutdown went into effect, I went up to see the National Guard at Windsor Locks Airport. We were deploying 500 Connecticut National Guard members to the Middle East. These were 22, 23-year-olds. None of them are wealthy. none of them are going to get paid on October 15th. And I heard the vice president on your show say that this is about the Democrats. The American people understand that the Republicans control the White House, they control the Senate, and they control the House. So when the vice president of the United States is saying this is all about Chuck Schumer, who the American people rejected in the last election, I think the American people see through that.
Okay, so the whole premise here, and by the way, you know one of my pet peeves on this planet is when politicians speak for the American people, which they clearly do not. I cannot stand that when they do that. Well, the American people believe this. Read between the lines. Anyway, no one likes you. This is the whole point. They're not going to pay the soldiers. The Republicans are pure evil. They're so mean. Look what they're doing to our troops. You love our troops, right, Republicans? This is a leverage point that we can twist and we can make you hurt and pain, right? Make you look like monsters. Okay, yeah, remember that. That's the narrative that they attempted to do in this interview spot. Wait for it.
White House seems to be trying to take that issue off the table. The president posted on social media that they're going to repurpose funds somehow to pay the military, at least for this pay cycle. Is that sustainable? Is that legal?
Probably not. Again, we just had a little conversation about the White House's understanding of United States law, which is pretty tentative to.
So that's awkward turtle right there. That's awkward. So your whole premise there on CBS on national TV was to say that Trump's a monster, Republicans are monsters, they don't want to pay the troops. The anchor actually somehow has a random chance scattering of journalism and says, but Trump says right here that he wants to pay the troops through moving funds around. We can't do that. Wait, what? Yeah. If you guys are getting in, here comes the payoff. Watch this. These articles are just everything's linked. I always bring receipts. Like, subscribe, share. Let's get it. All right. Pentagon will pay military troops, Trump says, shifting $8 billion. Well, that seems like that it takes that issue off the table, doesn't it? Beautiful patriots? Yeah, it does, indeed. I heard you. The president said Saturday that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has funds available to pay troops on Wednesday. Well, that's interesting because the Democrats just told me that we don't and we're evil and we don't love our troops, even though they're the most respected group alive on the right. But anyway, other than that, let me show you these little highlighted points. Again, notice the article dates. This is really important as we walk through this. This one's on 10/11, okay? President Donald Trump on Saturday announced that he will direct Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to, quote, use all available funds to get our troops paid on October 15th as the government shutdown nears its third week, which is obviously the correct thing to do. Good God, stop paying these politicians, pay the troops. After the Senate failed to approve spending legislation this week, military members were prepared to go without their paychecks on Wednesday for the first time in U.S. history. Again, Trump completely took it off the table. The White House took it off the table. The Secretary of Defense, War, took it completely off the freaking table. Now the Democrats look like assholes. I mean, the shoe fits. But genuinely, that's where you're looking at right now. Politically, this is like a thermonuclear weapon just sent from orbit. I mean, politically, this is like awful because the Democrats shut everything down again. Didn't want to pay anybody. Then they went on TV saying how Donald Trump doesn't want to pay troops. Donald Trump says let's pay the troops, and they say no, you can't do that. Well, that worked out well. God, guys, when I say you are winning, everyone can see this. Let's keep going. Quote, we have identified funds to do this, and Secretary Hegseth will use them to pay our troops, the president wrote in a social media post on Saturday. Quote, I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown. Political game, set, match. This is in Politico, guys. This is not on Fox News. This is not on News Nation. This is not on anything. This is on Politico. Politico is literally holding multiple buckets for the Democrats. They're throwing them under the bus because they're getting their butts handed to them. Let's continue. And by the way, I'm loving the emojis, the chats. Lee, keep it going. Send this out. Share this out. And if you are down to save this country, of course, subscribe, like, share. All right. Democrats are in a GOP shutdown vice. Let me just zoom in. I just want to make sure we're on the same page on something. Democrats are in a GOP shutdown vice. Wait, what's this? What's this red lettering? Oh my God, it's a liberal media. Again, Politico. Guys, I'm just going to keep going. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but it's kind of fun. The fear is with military God, just listen to this language. The fear is with military pay no longer looming as a pressure point, Little will stop the shutdown from continuing for several more weeks. I just want to focus on something really quickly. This is in a left-leaning source of Politico. This is about the Democrats in a GOP shutdown vice, which means they got their butts handed to them again. And this is the language. I want to make sure you guys see it. Screenshot it, share it, do whatever you need to do. Listen to the words. The fear is, because, again, the Democrats fear, with military pay no longer looming as a pressure point, little will stop the shutdown from continuing for several more weeks. Why would the Democrats be afraid and have a fear that the military is not going to be used as a pressure point? That is the most disgusting crap you can imagine. But again, don't worry, it's all evil Republicans. They're literally saying it to your face. Let's keep going. I got more yellow highlighted in here. A lot of things you need to know. Again, these dates that I'm telling you about. 10/13. This is 2 days after the one I just showed you. So this one right here was on the 11th, which was the whole Trump says move money around. 2 days later, Republicans are ratcheting up pressure on Democrats on multiple fronts as the government shutdown enters a third work week, hoping hardball moves can force a reckoning that cracks the stalemate. The moves come even as President Donald Trump took a major pressure point off the table over the weekend, announcing he would shift money around to ensure military members don't miss a paycheck Wednesday. Again, they reinforce that same language, and I want to double highlight this. President Donald Trump took a major pressure point off the table. That pressure point that was being used was the military troops. Donald Trump takes it off the table, which means he pays them. Democrats are holding this bag that says, shit. Because they look like idiots. Let's keep on going. I try not to curse, but sometimes they just deserve it. All right. But he acknowledged the obvious, and again, this is a Republican from North Dakota, but he acknowledged that the obvious immediate leverage point would have been troop pay, adding if anything was going to be an inflection point, it was that, because it's a compelling reason to open the damn government. Because Trump took it off the table, the stalemate keeps going, and Trump keeps cutting funds, jobs, and government bureaucracies. Guys, I come here. I know a lot of people in the 2A space, which is where I started, where I live. I still am involved in the entire space. A lot of people questioned if this was going to be able to be possible across the entire nation. From what you're watching right now, this is actively political warfare, and the Democrats are seriously operating on like Windows 97, like I said. They are getting absolutely wrecked. It's only a matter of time. But anyway, let's keep on going. While troops are no longer in danger of missing their Wednesday paychecks, other pain points are looming. Again, this language. Well, since the troops aren't the pain point and leverage point anymore, we can find other ones. God, it's so transparent. The federal courts, for instance, could scale back operations on Friday. Oh no, not the federal courts. And air travel impacts are being closely watched. So you've got nothing. Please, don't stop the federal courts. Good Lord, so pathetic. All right, here comes Jeffries. Listen to this. And I see that super chat. I will get into you one more second. That's a good super chat. Jeffries is calling House Democrats back to Washington for a Tuesday evening caucus meeting. Hey guys, this is how we're getting our butts kicked, but we're going to keep going. And Democratic lawmakers are expected to take part in more public appearances this week. Cannot wait for those. Make sure you're tuned in for those. This week, even as the House stays out of session. Now, here's a question. Before we go to this next part, why would the Democrats be in Washington, D.C. if the government is shut down, the House is not adjourned, but Jeffries calls them back for a meeting on Tuesday, and then Politico openly says they'll be available for multiple media hits throughout the week? Do you know what that is? That is literally political planning and political meetings around how we're going to try to spin the narrative for the next week while we're in D.C. and the House is not adjourned. That's exactly what that means. They're buying time until the 18th, which is the No Kings rally, which, by the way, is funded with open communist money and a lot of very communist actors. But let's not get that in the way. All right, now let's keep on going. This next part. Remember, Schumer and Jeffries, right? He and Schumer have largely managed to keep their caucuses unified on the demand for bipartisan negotiation, even though there are already clear signs of fissures between the two Democratic leaders over what would be an acceptable end to the shutdown. Okay, so let me get this straight. Come on, guys, let's have a conversation. Let me get this straight. You're going to shut down the government. Then you're going to try to use the troops as leverage points and pressure points. Then when Donald Trump pays them, you say, oh, that's okay, there's other pressure points, like the federal courts and aviation. Remember, Schumer also, or one of the other Democrats also said, we're going to keep doing this till planes fall out of the sky. Good look. Real good look. And then your big play is, by the way, we're also not on the same page. Yeah. And if they keep the government shut down, the Office of Management and Budget and Russ Vought and Donald Trump just keep on cutting Democrat programs just like J.D. Vance said they were going to do. I mean, guys, this isn't even close. This isn't even close. And I got one more thing to show you, which is going to be the coup de grace. You guys are going to love this from the bottom of your patriotic, America-loving hearts. But I'm going to do this super chat real quick because I don't want to let it get away. Pack Rat's Attic for $5 super chat says, hey, Braden, you're not beating a dead horse, you're beating a dead donkey. That's very accurate, and of course, talking about the motto and the emblem and the icon of the Democratic Party, the jackass. I didn't do it, they did it. Anyway, all right, let's keep on going. I think I had something else. Nope, not in that one. Yep, the big payoff, right here. Guys, this is so beautiful. Okay, all right, remember those timestamps I told you about? This one also came out today. Let me zoom in, 10/13. Remember everything we're talking about. That is 10/13, right there. Same day as this one right here, which where the Democrats were getting their butts kicked and they're saying they're in the vice, 10/13, and then the first one was 10/11. You're seeing the progress, right? Watch this last one. God, this is so beautiful. Whoa, I'm all over the place. Sorry. Here we go. Shutdown polls show Democrats' economic messaging still falling flat. Democrats are struggling to erase Republicans' polling advantage on the economy, even as they fight to stop healthcare costs from rising. Hey guys, I've got some stuff I want to show you, but what do you bet that there is like a room in DC where Democrats can go for safe spaces filled with puppies, kittens, cute little animals, and lots of pillows they can just scream into? I mean, because, oh my God, you're in the middle of a shutdown and your entire message was economic messaging and you're not even moving the needle. It's almost like we don't believe you. God, that must be real frustrating. Let's do it some more. All right, here we go. Democrats' hardline opposition to rising healthcare costs isn't earning them voters' trust on economic issues, a disconnect that lays bare the party's challenge heading into next year's midterms. Guys, we are about to have the most fun year and a half you could ever imagine, followed up with a dessert of the next 2 years of Gavin Newsom standing there doing this while he talks for 45 seconds, and then J.D. Vance being like, y'all are dumb. I mean, guys, like, the precipice of greatness that we are on is going to be one of the most amazing trips throughout political history ever, and I am so pleased to be here with you. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I landed that plane. Let me see some planes over in the chat, the comments, all the things that we need to make this show go further. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, do all those incredible actions, which you guys are so good at. I love each and every one of you. Just the right amount that makes you feel comfortable. I hope you have an incredible evening, and we'll be back tomorrow morning where I get to make fun of Gavin Newsom doing this a whole lot more, and I can't wait to see you there. I'm Braden. See you later.